Hi, good morning. So this video is for this coming Tuesday, September 28th. And please, if you'd be kind enough to open your books to page 86, that's where the section of work will start. It says it's titled halfway down, or the top part of 86, it says significance. It says when a difference between groups or variable is so large that it's unlikely to be caused by chance, we say it is significant. In this case, a significant difference would mean that we believe that listening to music was the reason for the difference in quiz score averages between two groups. We do not yet have the tools to determine if the difference between averages is due to music listening or chance variation. For now, we need to be careful. We shouldn't draw final conclusions yet. We need to rule out other possible causes. Think about other factors or reasons that could explain differences in quiz scores. For example, if some students took American history recently, remember we did that? We talked about perhaps history majors where they might have scored higher on a particular quiz that was given, whether they listened to music or not. It didn't seem to matter, right? They might get higher scores on the quiz. So these are things you have to take into consideration. Ready? Anecdotal data. Look at this. We should not draw conclusions based solely on information from a handful of people. For example, suppose one student states that they know from personal experience that they retain more information when they study while listening to music. This evidence may be legitimate, but it's not enough for a conclusion to be made. This is an example of anecdotal evidence. An anecdote or personal story may be persuasive, but it only gives information about one individual. Another example of anecdotal evidence would be observing a person who smokes a pack of cigarettes every day and does not get cancer. One person does not provide sufficient evidence. It would not be valid to conclude that people who smoke a pack of cigarettes every day do not get cancer. And look what they say down here, bottom of 86, next steps, direct control, random assignment, blinding, and the placebo effect. The goal of an experiment is to determine the effect of changing a treatment on the response variable. To do this, we want to rule out other possible explanations for differences in responses to treatments. Two common strategies to help with this are direct control and random assignment. Direct control means that if you notice that there are other variables besides the explanatory variable that might affect the response, you try to manage those variables. Random assignment helps us create groups that are similar. Okay, now we're going to work with these. Ready? So turn to page 87, please. And look what it says. Consider the following description of an experiment. In this experiment, the researchers want to investigate whether the way people dry their hands after washing them has an effect on how clean their hands are. An experiment was conducted to compare bacteria reduction for 3 different hand drying methods. Okay? Using paper towels, using a hot air dryer, and evaporation. In this experiment, the participants handled uncooked chicken for 45 seconds. The participants then washed their hands with a single squirt of soap for 60 seconds and finally used one of 3 hand drying methods. After participants dried their hands, the researchers measured the bacteria count on the participants' hands. Ready? I'd like you to do this. So, what I just read in terms of the experiment, read again yourself and try to interpret exactly what they're doing, what they're saying, what they're doing, okay? What they're telling people to do. Now, look at example A, 10A on page 87. Look at example 10B on page 87. I want you to use your thinking to be able to get what you think is a proper answer, okay? Now let's turn the page. We're going to look at page 88, okay? So page 88 talks about blinding. Look what it says. It says some people already have ideas about whether the treatments in an experiment will be effective. These beliefs might influence the response. When participants in an experiment do not know the type of treatment they're receiving, they're said to be blinded. Blinding participants is a way to prevent prior beliefs about the treatment from influencing their response. So look at number 11. It says a shoe company wants to compare 2 different products for making hiking boots waterproof. Researchers created an experiment to compare 2 different products. In the experiment, researchers randomly give participants hiking boots. The hiking boots were waterproofed using one of the 2 waterproofing products. Participants then wear the boots on a hike along a mountain stream. They have to cross the stream and walk in the water in several places. After the hike, the boots are left to dry. Then the boots are sent to a lab where a technician evaluates the boots for water damage. Now it says, do you recommend blinding only the participants, only the lab technician, or both the participants and the lab technician? Explain your answer. So again, read this one more time and think about what makes sense. What makes sense if you want to get legitimate, proper answers as to really which of those waterproofing products would be more effective. Okay, why not, and how we could work with blinding and which groups to determine proper answers. Okay, let's look at the bottom, placebo effect. Okay, placebo effect. In experiments, at bottom of page 88. In experiments that use human participants, use of a control group may not be enough to establish whether a treatment really has an effect. Studies have shown that people sometimes respond in a positive way to treatments that have no active ingredients. These non-treatments that have no active ingredients may be colored water or sugar pills and are called placebos. Okay? And people often report that such non-treatments relieve pain or reduce other symptoms such as dizziness, thinking that a non-treatment has helped make the pain or made you feel better is an example of what they call the placebo effect. Okay? So they talk about what they did for an experiment. Look at number 12 at the bottom of page 88. Think about it, analyze it, give your best answer, okay? For number 12 on page 88, page 89, number 13, okay? And then look at the summary at the bottom of page 89, okay? So do the best you can. These are thought questions, but these are legitimate, real questions that you have to think what makes sense, how we're going to obtain the real results, and what's the best way to do it, okay? So with that, we complete the section for today, which is Tuesday. When I meet you again on Thursday, we'll review this a little bit more to see if your thoughts were correct. Okay? Take care. I'll set up another video for Wednesday. Bye-bye.